Welcome everyone to another episode of Title Talk. I'm Bryson Rubin for that matter. I'm here with Luke. I'm here with Jake, aka Drake Silver on X.com. How are you guys doing this evening? What's going on? There's some football going on. What are you guys doing tonight?
I'm watching football. Watching the Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning game, which is Kenny Pickett versus Carson Beck. It's a nice 0-0 score right now, but football's back. I'm excited for that. I don't care what kind of game it is.
Yeah, football is back. Football is back in the worst way. The Hall of Fame snooze fest game on that's definitely got my hair raised and goosebumps on my arms. Also, we have insane training camp rookie discourse, which I'm excited to get to, and I know everybody else is too.
Yeah, 100%, man. We get these every once in a while, and it's always me. I feel, is it always just me? Is it always me getting upsetty spaghetti at what's going on and no one else is saying anything? Like I remember in 2024 when all the reports were coming out about Drake May and Jacoby Brissett, and all these years I've told you guys, it's like I don't trust what they're saying at camp. I don't trust their analysis. I trust them to tell me like who's the first string, who's the second string, who's the third string, what's going on actually. Now the subjective stuff, I don't want to hear it for that matter. I really don't. I want to actually see it myself because when I do, routinely they get it wrong. And I'm hearing like Jacoby Brissett is better than Drake May, which by the way has never been a thing ever in Jacoby's entire life, ever since Drake May became 6 foot tall. He's been better than Jacoby Brissett. That was ridiculous. It was immediately ridiculous. And then, by the way, that season was followed literally by Gerard Mayo. It's okay. He's actually not getting fired. And by the second game, we were like, this is terrible. He's getting fired. No. Actually, all the way into December. And so, like, I just have trust issues with these guys. And people on X are like, you're freaking out. Lomu stinks. All this stuff. We'll get into it. But I think the first thing that we really should get into is that Diggs is somewhere else because I was really hopeful. There was a time where Diggs was it was pretty close. He could have been a Patriot, but the money just wasn't right, and Diggs wanted to go somewhere else. It's funny that he goes to the Commanders. A couple years ago, they asked him if he would go to the Commanders, and one of his friends or something like that said F no, which is pretty funny. But he's a Commander now. Big difference in Patriots fans and Eagles fans. Everyone are like wishing Diggs a warm goodbye, and we're like, you know what? Something that my basketball coach used to say, it's really cringe. He would always say, when you go to a new team, you're gonna stink probably, but you need people to like build the foundation of your team. Which you think about the 2024 Patriots, you have people like Drake May, you have like Unweno, people like that. But in a 25 team, one of those people has to be Diggs, which is why it's like really upsetting he didn't get a ring because he was really such a leader. It was really surprising. He was awesome, and he only played 52% of snaps, and you would have never known that because he never threw a fit about it. He just quietly was awesome the entire time. He was Drake May's favorite target. He was always in the right spot, and he was always giving us awesome pregame speeches, which we love to see. So I'm wishing him the best. I wish he were a Patriot because I'm just thinking right now of how good the Patriots would be. Maybe if they just spent a couple extra dollars and just brought back Diggs and bit the bullet. Maybe they have to trade Booty, but he's the commander now, so we wish him the best.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. And I think I mean, there was a time back in May that it was actually pretty close. It was June, beginning of June, where it was getting close between the Patriots and Diggs, like you said, Bryson. But ultimately, this is more about Diggs when they go in a different direction than it is, I think, more than the Patriots and Vrabel's willing to put out there. Because if you guys remember, he went to press conference, talking about, yeah, it'd be cool to have him back, but for them, we're going to move on from him. That was really the biggest takeaway. But there was an underlying truth there that there was mutualism between the two and wanting to return. But I think ultimately, we talked about this a little bit in the past, but maybe the Patriots didn't want to add on another HR dilemma at this time. Maybe human resources was already working triple time, and with Diggs, we know what comes with it, and sort of the PR with it, and the Patriots, for better or for worse, were the biggest PR nightmare of the offseason. Not to say that anybody went to jail or anything like that, but when the coach is finding himself in this situation that he's in this big massive scandal, take it for what it is, that's what it was. maybe that the idea behind adding Diggs probably doesn't entice them as much as it would, regularly. So I'm not saying that's what influenced the decision, but would it surprise me if it did? No, not at all. As for the Washington fit, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It probably would have made more sense for Washington to do that last year, opposed to trading for Deebo Samuel and all 245 pounds that he is right now. But, I guess they're going to try and make it right now. I think with Jaden Daniels, they definitely want to get someone in there, but they're hoping to get some dependent, which Diggs was able to do. Like, albeit, he didn't have the same steps that he's had in years prior. He doesn't have the speed. He doesn't really even have the juice after catching the ball and getting yak. So it's going to leave a little bit of luster. It's going to leave a lot to be, I think, desired ultimately down the line as a Washington Commander fan. But Diggs is cool. Diggs owns. I like Diggs. I think we all did. And everything he did here, more than just an efficient third down receiver. So unfortunate that it didn't kind of, yield its way back to New England. But, yeah, we'll see how it goes in Washington. I'm going to guess it's going to fizzle out pretty. What do you think, Luke?
Well, I want to take it back a second because the biggest thing about Diggs was he chose to come here. And I don't know if everybody remembers. I think everyone does because Patriots fans talk about it all the time. We got looked over so much since Brady left when it comes to wide receivers and just players in general. Think about DK Metcalf didn't want to come here. Brandon Ayuk didn't want to come here. DeAndre Hopkins, OBJ, Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley didn't want to come here. And I think that speaks a little bit or mostly to them having Drake May now. However, the Patriots had 3 or 4 wins the year prior, and Stephon Diggs chose the Patriots. And say what you want. Yeah, he was coming off an ACL, maybe not in his prime anymore. But that was a risk. He could have went to somewhere else where they were going to be guaranteed a contender. He said, no, I want to come to New England. And actually, that means a lot, I think, to the fan base. It meant a lot to me. And also, it kind of opened up the floodgates for other players to want to start coming here again. New England is not some amazing city. Like, we love Foxborough, but it kind of sucks that it's 40 minutes away from Boston. Kraft did it because he wanted everybody in the region to feel like they're part of the fandom. In reality, it was just cheaper, but it's hard to get guys here. When you have a guy like Drake May, people want to come here, but you have to get that first guy in first. And so I'm very grateful to Diggs for doing that. He was super happy here, as Bryson was saying, never had any issues. And he definitely helped Drake May. Drake May, of course, would have been successful no matter what. But last season, there's no doubt in my mind, if they did not have Stephon Diggs and they just had the rest of that receiver group, they would have been worse. And Drake May's numbers would have been worse. He would not have been a worse player, of course. But his numbers would have been worse. They would not have had the success they did. So I'm just grateful for him. I just want to thank him for that. And I think he'll be solid in Washington, assuming Jaden Daniels can stay in one piece.
Yeah, I'm with you guys there. Someone said Ayuk is going to be hunting Diggs down again. That's pretty funny. What's
going on with him, man? He is really messed up. I feel like
we wish him the best. We wish him the best. Hey, I want him to be a Patriot, and honestly, people say that was a bad choice, but really, had he not gone to the 49ers, stayed there, and he was a Patriot, it would have been fine. He wouldn't have been crazy. He would have been with Drake May. He would have been balling out, People act like this was some horrible decision. No, he would have been – it actually would have changed his life, okay? So it would have been fine, believe me. Yeah, but Ayuk, not good. But, yeah, so that's Diggs. Everyone's happy for Diggs. We love to see that. And then, the part that everyone wants to talk about today, well, everyone wants to ignore, but I don't want to ignore. Luke, before we come in the podcast, and he's like, Bryson's really mad this week. I'm like, no, Luke, you're mad. I'm not mad. But people, I actually do get irritated, though. So he's kind of right. I get irritated when people are like, they try to lie about what's going on. And I'm just simply like, purporting what's going on. I'm just telling you what's going on. And here's the thing about Patriots camp. Okay, the observations, like we talked about earlier, are not always particularly correct. You remember the stink, stank, stunk from Giardi, who I don't even like. He has me blocked. Totally on point correct. Everyone's mad about it. Totally correct. No one ever goes back and says, my bad, Giardi. You were right. Devontae Parker and Kendrick Bourne and these guys actually are not that good. Totally correct take, by the way. And it's all these, and I get everyone wants to be positive about their team. Everyone wants to hype each other up. I mean, we're the biggest Will Campbell stands out there, essentially because we think he can be awesome at a different position. But before we went, let's go back. Before we went into the 2025 season, people that are really smart, like Brandon Thorne, said, I like Will Campbell. I think he just would be an awesome guard, and he'll be an okay tackle, but he's going to struggle at times. I said the same exact thing. I said he's like an A or A plus run blocker. He's really good at it. And he's like a B minus at best pass blocker. And he's probably, based on his size, better to play inside. And then they draft Will Campbell. They go through the season. And here's I'm collecting evidence over the season. So Will Campbell gets hurt. For what that's worth, he's not on the injury report during the playoffs. Okay, let's just assume that he was still hurt or whatever. He's not on the injury report. Okay, Savage was telling
that teams don't always upload everybody's injury to the injury report, Bryson?
No, I'm saying I am not saying that. I think there's a big problem if you're a team and you don't put an injured player on the injury report. Drake May's shoulder is on the injury report. If you're truly hurt, if you're struggling, if you're in pain, if you're getting treatments, you are going to be on the injury report. Tom Brady's on the injury report for no reason. Because of gambling and all this stuff, this is a huge deal. I don't know if you understand, if you're a Patriots fan, not having someone on the injury report, it's not something you finagle. This is a huge deal. And people get really mad if someone's on the – imagine if before that week, people would have seen Will Campbell on the injury report and he was like limited in practice, and everyone would be like, oh, that makes sense. He was hurt, or whatever. That probably changes a lot of the game, or a lot of people's outlooks on the game. Okay, I digress. Whatever. He wasn't on the injury report. Severely struggles all playoffs. When you can say when he comes back, he was hurt. Whatever. Let's just take that for granted that he's hurt. Let's just say he's hurt. He goes in the playoffs. He's not good. Okay, goes into the Super Bowl, and I think it was the week before, maybe the week after the Chargers game. He's like talking about people on Twitter and stuff, and like he's seething. By the way, if you look at his face, he's actually seething, talking about people on X. And then we fast forward, and then the 14 pressure game happened, and he just walks off, doesn't talk to anyone, and leaves, is all crying and stuff, which I understand. And, of course, nothing. And our perspective was he had 14 pressures in a game. At some point, you have to yank this guy and get him out of the game. You have to try something else. That's something Bill actually would have done. And they don't do it. And you can see it in Mike Vrabel's face. You can just sense the energy that they are not – They don't want to do this. They're afraid because you guys don't want to say this. No one wants to say this. I'll say this. He's got some rabbit ears, okay? And I don't blame him. We all do. We're all on Twitter. We're all scrolling. But he particularly gets mad about this stuff. And so we go into the off season, okay? Look at Will Campbell's headshots from his team, the year 1 to year 2. Totally different player. He's lost it. His eyes are gone. The confidence is shot. And the Patriots know this. And they get into a position when they're in the draft where there's a left tackle, which many people think is the best one in the draft. A lot of smart people think he's the best, or at worst, the second best tackle in the draft. And the Patriots are like, what can we do? He's the best. We can't walk away from this responsibly. He's awesome. So they draft him, and it becomes a big deal. It becomes another big deal again that night. So then we go to May, okay? We go to May, and I say all this to line up what I'm thinking at the moment. We go to May, all right? Caleb Lomu, in a random practice in spring, he says he has starting reps at left tackle. I make a tweet about it. It gets 1 million impressions on X, okay? And that's just me. And everyone's thinking the same thing. Oh boy, here it comes. Because guess what? That week 1 comes, everyone knows if week 1 comes around and we have another Seattle situation, it's I'm not going to say it's over, but some severe dunking is going to be going on. We're not going to be happy about it, right? But everyone's going to be extremely mad about it. But no one. But then after that, things change a little bit. So once we get into the July practices, then all of a sudden, Lomu's practicing at right tackle, and people will have this counter argument to me. They'll be like, "Well, he's a right tackle now." And by the way, everyone is switching positions but Will Campbell. He doesn't move anywhere. He never gets benched. Jared Wilson had to switch positions. Caleb Lomo has to switch positions. All these other players are switching positions. Will Campbell is the golden goose, though. He's the 4th overall pick with more cachet than Drake May or anyone in the organization somehow, despite having one of the worst Super Bowls in history as a starting left tackle, okay? One of the worst. And just gets endless love. And everyone's like, no, we absolutely stand. He's not moving. He's awesome. He's ours. But when Caleb Lomo's in there, he's got to take reps at guard. And you're saying, oh, well, Lomu's at right tackle, and he's not going to left tackle at practice because he needs the reps. Well, okay, how about this? He's practicing at guard. Do you think Caleb Lomu's playing guard? Seriously. It makes no. This is like if Demario Douglas is playing tight end. It makes no sense whatsoever. It's dumb. It doesn't make any sense. And at the very worst, it's complete coaching malpractice. He's playing guard. Okay, so I think him being a right tackle is awful. And I would actually accept it if he was starting, but he's the swing tackle. How often have you seen a swing tackle play both sides easily? It happens all the time. So Will Campbell is not at practice today. And people are like, well, people don't know this, okay? I studied. I paid attention. You did not study. You did not pay attention. Will Campbell is not there today. Marcus Bryant is taking first-string reps, okay? Caleb Lomo is also taking third-string reps. He's your first-round pick. How come Caleb Lomo doesn't get the same cachet as Will Campbell? And people are going to say, well, he's looked really bad. I don't care. Will Campbell last year in the summer, do you remember those stories? Do you want to pull him back up? Should I start retweeting him? Keion White was destroying him to the point where beat writers were doing this in practice. I dare you look it up right now. I dare you look it up right now. So help me God, look it up. B writers were doing this. Will Campbell had a really nice rep today against Keion White, who's out of the league now. He's nothing. He's nothing. He was tearing him up all summer. I don't care how good you think Will Campbell has. He was getting torn up all summer. And guess what? Stays at left tackle. Nothing happens. Vidarian Lowe never touches his spot. It's never a question ever. It's always Will Campbell's the star of the show. But Caleb Lomo doesn't get that. He's the first-round pick, too. He should have the same cachet as Will Campbell. And for that matter, then we have the tweet from Mike Reese. So Mike Reese says, based on what I'm seeing, it looks like if something happens to Will Campbell, Caleb Lomo just wouldn't play. So they just drafted a first-round tackle, one of the best in the draft, some are saying, and he will not play. He won't. You're telling me he's not going in at left tackle. So why did you pick him then? What is the entire point? Well, he has to stay at right tackle. Why? This happens all the time. Trent Brown played right tackle the year before he played left tackle and won a Super Bowl with the Patriots. It happens all the time. I'm not saying it's easy or anything like that, but this is silly. And I was talking to one of our friends, Snooty, earlier, and he was like, he agrees. He's like, yeah, if he doesn't go in there and play, if something ever happens to Will, who suddenly has a brace on his arm now, and people are like, that's normal too. That's just normal. So if he misses games, you're telling me Marcus Bryant is in there, and you're telling me Caleb Lomo is sitting on the bench, your first round pick. And you know what I think it is, and no one's going to say it. I think everyone is scared to death of what would happen to Will Campbell's confidence if Caleb Lomo enters that game. Because I can assure you, if something bad happens, he comes back, has a sack, something like that, people are going to be screaming for Caleb Lomo. So Caleb Lomo gets none of the same love. So he gets none of the same love that Will Campbell does. He gets all the love. Which, by the way, everyone on this panel, we don't want it to be like that. We want Will Campbell to just be awesome. But somehow this has happened to us. And I guarantee you guys, and we're doing this in practice now. It's like, well, he's the guy that he wins a snap in practice, and I'm hearing about it. And then and now it's the opposite for Caleb. You're telling me practice doesn't matter when Keion White is smoking your favorite tackle shit. But this year, when Caleb Lomo, it happens to him, and it's like suddenly practice matters again. It's like my favorite player is good. It doesn't matter. My player I like is not good. Doesn't matter at all. So I think that we have a case here of everyone being scared to death of criticizing Will Campbell. I don't know what you guys think, but I think I laid it out pretty well there.
Well, I do. And very passionately, might I add. I want to say, like, you popped a couple blood vessels during that entire monologue. Look at your neck right now.
I'm
Look
mad.
at this guy. This guy is fuming
I'm actually
right now.
seething.
Danny's
I'm seething.
popping out seething.
Listen,
Bryson's been
Captain.
mad all week, man. He's on Twitter too much.
That's
listen,
it.
I am seething. Okay, here's why I'm seething. Here's the other reason why I'm seething is because look, I'm not crazy, and this happens every single year where we have something like this where we're seeing something and everyone else is just lying about it, and then everyone is counter signaling me online. They're like, no, actually, that's wrong. No, you're wrong. No, actually wrong. Actually wrong. Actually wrong. And it's like, okay, we're going to see. We're going to see. And you better pray to whatever God you pray to that week 1 works out for you. You better pray that Gabe Backus, when I have the I Heart Gabe Backus shirt, that he doesn't push Will Campbell down a well. Because that's going to be bad for you. And I'm gonna be there. And guess what? We all know nothing's going to happen to Will Campbell. He's just going to get blown out of the water, 14 pressures in the Seattle game. Nothing happens. Caleb Bloom is going to be siling on the sideline.
Well,
why did we draft this guy if nothing's going to happen with him?
And like we talk a lot about Eagles fans, but if they drafted a guy 4 overall and he sucked ass like Will Campbell sucked ass, do you think their fans are going to be coping online defending that guy? He's getting booed week 2 last season. I don't understand what he has done in New England to make all these Patriots fans just so in love with him. He has withered in every big moment. He cries all the time, and he's obviously causing the coaching staff to make a decision that is not in the best interest of the football team this upcoming season. I'm trying to win a Super Bowl this season. This is not a developmental year anymore. So whatever we need to do to prepare for that needs to be done. And right now, Caleb Lomu taking 3rd string snaps at left tackle in practice is not a championship decision. And I just don't understand why Patriots fans are defending it at this point. It's pretty obvious. And in a year, I know what's going to happen. If Will Campbell fails next year, they're going to rewrite history and say, yeah, we always hated him. He's always sucked. But I think we got to remember, I want to put this down in the history books now, that Patriots fans are kind of coping right now across the board. There's, of course, people who aren't doing that, but I would say a majority of Patriots fans are going to be on the wrong side of history, and it's kind of frustrating. Why are we doing that?
Well, I know you guys say that you're like looking in the mirror, like, why do I sound crazy? Well, I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna star as Captain Cope to you guys. Okay, Captain Cope is here. He has arrived. He's gonna gaslight.
Are you gonna push back? If you're pushing back, I'm gonna be mad. If you're pushing back,
listen.
Here's why Will Campbell is actually good. Go ahead.
No. This has nothing to do with Will Campbell being good. Okay, and I might get there. I don't know. I probably won't because I'm not this Will Campbell truther. I am a Will Campbell fan. I'm a Patriots fan, right? But what Bryson and you are saying, and what I'm taking from this, and I'm going to call you crazy because this is Captain Cope we're talking. So you think that they value the asset of Will Campbell's confidence more than they value the asset of Drake May's blindside? Is that what you're telling me? Is that what we're getting at?
Yes.
This is a disgusting display of coaching malpractice, if so.
Yes. Yeah. I agree. We were all there in the Super Bowl, and everyone was thinking the same thing. We were all thinking the same thing. We're all like, okay, is something going to happen? Like, is someone going to say something out here? Because this is a nightmare. You've got
the same chat at halftime.
Defensive backs are getting sacks. It went mega viral. People are making fun of us, and nothing happens. And Vrabel's like, just go out there again, kiddo. You'll be just fine, because everyone is scared to death. No, I don't care. I want the Patriots to win games. Okay, I'm tired of the coping, and I'm saying yes. I'm saying yes. I'm also saying, here's the other thing that I think we do have to remember that does get lost. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Will Campbell. A lot of the reason why Will Campbell was drafted, and no one wants to say this, you have to think back to the 2024 Patriots. They completely blanked. Everyone knew it. They had Drake May. They had a coaching change. They needed to have an immediate fan favorite. They were in no position to risk. I don't think, like, you could argue that they were in no position to take any sort of risk. They needed to take the fan favorite, because at the end of the day, even if Will Campbell was not good, And I think that they genuinely believe that he is a good player, and I think he's a decent player too. But if he busted out, then fans would defend it like they are right now. I'm not saying that he is a bust, but they would always defend it. So they had to take him. So the reason why you get Will Campbell, it's not just the player that he is. It's what he carries and means to the team and what he means to the fans. So I think that also plays an extra role there. They've got a fan favorite at left tackle now. My argument now is like, okay, but now the team is good. So why are we sitting here doing this again?
Yeah, no, I hear you. I get it. I understand where you're coming from. Maybe I'm not Captain Coat. Maybe the reason is, maybe the thing is, maybe I'm blackpilling because I am now slowly realizing that there's a world where both of these guys might actually suck. Okay, and I know you don't want to entertain that because you're like, well, how do we know if Lomu sucks? He's not getting the team reps at left tackle that he probably deserves, or even first string reps at right tackle that he deserves. I do think that draft positioning where the team is maybe gets Lomu pushed further down, without hesitation or fear that they made a mistake and need to play him, or maybe silence even the masses, and their concerns. But I just think while we can talk about guys like maybe Kyle Williams sucking and it just not working, I think logically we can conclude that a guy that's going 0-6 in one-on-ones and consecutive days of practice now probably isn't in a spot to maybe get these starting reps. Maybe he isn't in the right spot to get these 11-on-11s. I do think the team coddles Will Campbell. I mean, I don't think they'll do it at the expense of disrupting Lomu's contributions if he can do it. But we saw it in Super Bowl. Like you guys said, you cannot argue with that. It is definitive proof that they coddle this guy. But then you fast forward to the draft. Okay, they draft a left tackle. Okay, in the spring he's playing left tackle. What happened for?
I think we lost him.
Yeah, that's what you get, okay?
Yeah.
That's what you get for defending Will Campbell. You get lagged out of the stream, all right? You get lagged out of the stream. Go ahead.
Are you back?
I'm back, but I was just getting on. I was getting on him, okay?
Go.
So unless there's some grand conspiracy, and I get you may draw some parallels from Jacoby Brissett to Drake May and how they're operating with Lomu and Will Campbell, unless there's some grand conspiracy behind the team and the media that Lomu has lost a majority.
See, he's like, nah. It's like I actually agree with him, and I can actually just forfeit and say that he was just not good at all. I could just literally forfeit and say, I could say he's not good. I don't care. He's not good. What I'm saying is I'm not sure because I'm not seeing it, and I want to see it for myself. And I think we'll know for sure at joint practices because he'll be going against other teams and things like that. I don't trust what's going on or what people are telling me right now. That's what I'm saying, and I'm also saying that it doesn't matter, okay? Because if you draft someone in the first round, it's just like N'Keal Harry. N'Keal Harry got his reps, and you get those. You do actually earn reps by being the first round pick, right? You get out there and you do earn those reps. There's only been a couple of practices. He's had He's had just like a couple of team reps or whatever it is. So what if he's not good? You have Marcus Bryant out there, okay? You have all these guys that are not good. James Hudson, whatever his name is. Like these guys aren't good either. They may do fine in practice, but what would you rather have? Would you rather have a young left tackle, a guy that played left tackle, taking as many snaps as he can, or would you rather be like, well, he's not doing so hot now, let's put him down with the third string? And by the way, by all accounts, he is actually taking these snaps at left tackle. So the argument that he's just staying on the right tackle, it just doesn't stick because he is taking these snaps, right? But it's a matter of why is he not taking the first string reps? And people are saying it's bad. I'm saying I don't care. Okay, I don't care if he's bad. He should be taking the reps because it's literally the beginning of August. He should be taking all of these reps. You should want your first-round pick to be getting as many reps as he can because I'm going to bet that Lomu is going to be a better tackle than like all of these guys. And there's a small chance that he's going to be the best tackle on the Patriots roster in 2 years or something like that. So I think you should just keep feeding him these snaps. You should not shy away from this stuff, which is what they're doing. And I think they're doing it so they don't bruise Will Campbell's ego, which is just absolutely ridiculous and insane. To me, it's way different than Kyle Williams, right? Because Kyle Williams got his reps. He got his chance. He practiced. He had those opportunities, and then it didn't work out. Right? We're this is like August. What is it? August 6th. It's August 6th. He can have first string reps, and he's going against no one. What's the worst thing that could possibly happen? Marcus Bryant has had reps. Hudson has had reps. Get him his reps. I don't care if he sucks. I'll admit he sucks. Get him reps.
Well, by the way, Bryson, like there is what evidence do they have that he sucks anyway? Because he's not out there taking many left tackle reps, unless they're doing secret workouts behind closed doors, and they've determined that he sucks and he can't go out into the public out there at left tackle. What evidence is there? I can't imagine there's much. The only logical conclusion I can come to is exactly what you're saying, is they're massaging Will Campbell's ego here because they know he'll lose confidence if Caleb Lomu goes out there and owns. And even if he doesn't own, there's going to be a story by somebody who says Caleb Lomu is taking first team reps at team practice. What does that mean for Will Campbell? And Will Campbell's going to see that story and take issue with it, even if it doesn't even comment on how well Caleb Lomu was out there. So I don't think that there is any logical conclusion other than that. I don't even like, how do we know Lomu? How do they even know Lomu sucks if he has sucked, if he is not taking the reps?
Well, the guy that told me that Jacoby was better than Dwayne, they said Jacoby was better than Dwayne. So they told me that. So he's bad. They told me that.
Remember when Joe Milton was the best quarterback on the field too?
Yeah.
I think I have a solve maybe for this Will Campbell situation as a whole, and the Kyle Williams one for that matter, because these are our first and third round picks, and I've always had a fascination, and I think it's because I watched those old movies so often where like the little kids climb on each other's backs and are in a trench coat to get into like a movie theater. I want to see Will Campbell with like a tactical baby. What are those baby vests with Kyle Williams on the front chest, and then just a giant jersey over the top of them. So we'll have Kyle Williams' arms outside of Will Campbell's body. How's that sound? Two for one.
And that sounds pretty beast. I mean, I think we've exhausted the Will Campbell stuff at this point. What do you
we haven't.
We've exhausted it. And you know what? I'll just say this: like, I don't hate the player. I've always been consistent about that. You can look up my tweets. I've always just said I think and Brandon Thorne says this, who's smarter than anyone watching this. Brandon Thorne has analyzed offensive linemen better than any of you ever, okay? When he ranks Will Campbell, when he's ranking all these guys, he has Will Campbell right now as the 26th best left tackle. And some of you will refer to PFF, okay? I trust Brandon Thorne more, and he says there is room to get better. I think Will Campbell can be a solid left tackle. I just think at the end of the day, he's probably a better fit. We've had this debate over the summer. You can look over the spring, rather. You can look at our debate with Pats Pro when I was talking about there's been so many instances where tackles switch to guards. There's been instances where tackles switch to centers. There's been instances where guards switch to centers. It happens literally all of the time with great success most of the time. So it's really not that big of a deal. I still think he's like an A run blocker and like a C to B- pass blocker. And you know what? That's more fair than Brandon Thorne because he doesn't think he's that good. Anyway, I guess it doesn't matter so much. The other thing that we have before we get into Luke stuff here is we have Kyle Williams. So I have been getting into it with people about Kyle Williams all summer, all spring. I remember I was sitting in Nantucket as Kyle Williams was running incorrect routes, and I'm like, dude, this is not good. Kyle Williams needs to show up or it's absolutely over. It's so over, it's not even funny. And people, like, they were trying to ratio me. They were like, I can't believe you're saying this. You're telling me this for the first time. And I'm like, yeah, he had 10 catches last year, guys. In a year where the Patriots
so depressing.
They needed wide receivers, and I believed him. In my first article I wrote, I think by the end of the year, you'll see Kyle Williams replace someone like Kayshon Boutte because his speed is much different and it changes the Patriots offense. So I'm right there with you. I'm disappointed. But what I saw in the spring, what I saw over the season, is that there's not a lot of trust there from Drake May. And I think the same things are going on here, despite that this guy has a lot of talent. Because the things that do matter most at practice is where are the guys getting reps at. It tells you what everyone thinks of each other. And we have Kyle Williams running on the other side of the field, not even with Drake May at all. Okay. And if you think that Booty's going to be traded, which the Patriots have a good mind that he's probably going to be traded. If you think Kyle Williams is going to be a reasonable contributor, why would you ever do that? Does that sound like good coaching to you? No, it doesn't sound like good coaching. You would have Kyle Williams with Drake May and getting as much rapport as it can, because they really were not on the same page last year. So I'm constantly saying, like, this guy is battling for his life with Luke's favorite player, Efton Chisholm, which we love and respect Efton Chisholm very much, but he's in a battle with another guy. And now, granted, Kyle Williams is doing things like he's taking special teams reps now or whatever, but so is Efton Chisholm, so who cares? So this is my problem with Kyle Williams. He's at the bottom of the roster. How he's not getting reps with May, and other guys are. Raridon is. He already is getting those reps with May. All the other guys are not. There's Paper Waves, our good friend right here. He loves Kyle Williams and Will Campbell. I love you, Paper Waves, but we're going to disagree about this. It's like he's not getting these reps. He's battling with Efton Chisholm. Okay. Do you think another year is going to change any of this, or do you think that he's just going to be completely gone? What do you guys think about Kyle Williams? This is very bleak.
My thoughts on it are like, I'm just like depressed about it, man. Like, why can't the Patriots draft one elite wide receiver in my lifetime? Like, just one. Kyle Williams, too, by the way. He was in the third round, but he kind of had differing opinions amongst the experts. Some people thought he was like the second best wide receiver in the draft behind, I think, Tet. Some didn't really like him at all. We really liked him. And I just remember when they drafted him, I was just so excited because I was like, okay, we're going to have one, finally going to get one right. No more Tyquan Thorntons. We love Tyquan Thornton. No more N'Keal Harry's. Like, this guy kind of is different. It has a different prototype than both those guys, and kind of went away from the type of wide receiver that Belichick would draft. And so it was like, okay, Belichick's gone, so we're going to start getting kind of new school with these wide receivers. And you're right. When it comes to these elite quarterbacks, if they don't trust you, you're not going to last there long. And at this point, I don't think there's anything Kyle Williams can really do. If that connection, I mean, you look at guys that, like Tet last year, came right in and had an immediate connection with whoever was the quarterback. You had guys like Jamar Chase a few years back, just immediate. Jamar Chase, obviously a top tier talent, but you get what I'm saying is Kyle Williams, Drake May, connection's not there. They're not going to all of a sudden find it in the next 30 days. So Kyle Williams, I'm not going to give up on as an NFL player quite yet, but I can't believe that he is going to go into the season with any type of legitimate role other than maybe a decoy, 10 to 15 snaps a game, and then hopefully he can learn some special teams a little bit. He has the speed to be a good kick returner. So I think they have the right guy in place in front of them, and Mac Hollins, who did the special teams route for a while and eventually made his way into playing time as a receiver. So I hope he's kind of absorbing that. But at this point, there's nothing. You can't trust. Drake doesn't trust him. The coaching staff obviously doesn't trust him. Efton Chisholm has completely frame-mogged him at this point. And by the way, we laugh about it, but like this trust thing, Efton Chisholm seems to have it from all the quarterbacks. They love going to him in the red zone specifically, and that's
they really trust him.
Huh?
They really trust him.
They do. They
really trust him. They trust him a lot. They throw him their keys. They're like, hey, Efton, move my Lamborghini. He moves the Lamborghini. Hey, Efton, pick up my wife from soccer practice. All the time.
Efton Chisholm has the keys to my heart. I don't know what else to say. Like, every time we see a highlight from him, it's him doing something good. Is there any reason why we would not hear stories of him not being on the same page as the quarterbacks if they were out there? They're not there. And does the media just have a vendetta against Kyle Williams? Or is Efton Chisholm just on the same page? He knows what to do.
This is what you should be asking yourself about the Caleb Lomu discourse, right? This is it. You have so much discernment. behind the Caleb Lomu versus Will Campbell thing. Why do we have the same one about Kyle Williams? He's the best. He's the GOAT. He's literally Steve Smith's favorite receiver, okay? So why are you guys doing this? No, and that's the problem. Kyle Williams' biggest accomplishment was coming out of Washington State ranked as Steve Smith's top 10, one of his top 10 wide receivers. And that's the issue. Like, everything that surrounds Kyle Williams right now is exactly what's wrong with training camp. It's exactly what's wrong with it. This is what we do every year. We find a guy, Patriots fans, they latch onto a guy who has some really admirable traits between his speed, maybe, you know, some of the plays he can make in the open field, all the stuff that we liked out of Kyle Williams coming out of the draft. You know, Patriots fans see it in their face for a year. If a rookie receiver doesn't contribute with at least 600 yards in that rookie season, history tells you that his odds of ever contributing in any role with that team are slim to none. It's basically over. And, you know, I think Bryson put out a tweet recently, you know, if Kyle Williams can't make it through this year, can't bust through as a contributor, his career is over in New England. And then most likely it's going to be over elsewhere. That's just what history tells us. Like, why do we ignore what we've already seen happen? And Kyle Williams struggles with the same things, with a lot of those same things that those past players have had. Like, it's not Tom Brady here. We're not going to blame Tom Brady for expecting too much out of a player. Like, Kyle Williams, you see it play out on game day. You're seeing it play out in practice. He has an insane group of defenders that a guy like Drake May could certainly use in a time like this, or a time like in the Super Bowl, or before we went to MVP voting, could have used him then too. So Kyle Williams, his what it is now, his role is going to be boiled down to being a sacrificial X. Like, that's what it is. He's going to be the Josh McDaniels sacrificial X, whereas a guy like AJ Brown is going to be playing inside. And I get it. Like, I see paper waves going off in the chat. Kyle Williams made plays. He made 100 yards worth of plays. Like, at the end of the day, we could find a lot of guys. You could find a practice squad guy and pull him up. He's going to make 100 yards worth of plays too. Does that mean he should have this roster spot safe and be playing on Sunday? Probably not. You're not going to see that. You're looking at a situation now where if Kyle Williams can't contribute as a punt gunner or as a kick return guy or a sacrificial X in that role, you're going to see a guy like Luke's favorite, Efton Chisholm, in there. Everyone just trusts this gym rat, real muscle hamster type of guy. Okay, just a real gritty, real solid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Guy who you want to date your daughter. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here, let me ask you guys this: if they waived Kyle Williams before the season, is he getting picked up off waivers, or is he just going to be going on to somebody's practice squad? I think somebody would probably pick him up. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
potential.
I don't see him getting cut. Honestly, I just think people are right about his skill set, and Drake Silver is right. Like Nate Tice says, he has a lot of potential just to be a sacrificial X, just to literally make things move because he's so fast. He does some. There are times where you do see it with him. It's just a matter of being on the same page as Drake May, which is, while, you know, tell everyone this, if Kyle Williams suddenly just like gets it and is, you know, kind of good and contributes, I won't be surprised at that either. Like, I would be more surprised if he's cut than if he has a decent year with the Patriots. I don't think they're going to waive him. I think they're going to keep him because they don't really have anyone else that can do that on the roster. And if he is contributing a little bit, he's definitely going to stay. And I do have a little bit of hope that something will happen there. I'm just simply saying that we are over. You know what? It always happens like this. We are like it stinks that we are this, but we bonk people. We go like, no, that you're overrating that person, bonk. And usually that's us, and that's what we're doing right now. And people are like, man, Kayshon Bouttie's a leader. Man, Kyle Williams is like, he's gonna go off. He was awesome last year. And we're like, hey, bonk, 10 catches. Like, let's calm down a little bit. Let's reorganize here. Let's not reinvent ourselves over this stuff. Bonk. Yeah, I think that's it with Kyle Williams.
Well, also, Bryson, I mean, the Patriots have showed us this too. Like, if the Patriots are acting in free agency and in the trade market to go out and target guys like AJ Brown, target a guy like Romeo Doubs, there's only so many snaps. There's one ball to be spread amongst these guys. And if the Patriots staff and front office viewed Kyle Williams as this piece that they can really develop, our favorite word, develop, that we're not even sure if it actually exists, development is kind of just this big, word that serves a purpose for draft pundits around, and scouts love to use it too. And we're not trying to shit on them, but it is what it is. If Kyle Williams was viewed as this developmental piece and this asset that they felt good about going into the season, they wouldn't have gone out and replaced his usage with AJ Brown and then getting Romeo Doubs as well.
He's also like the same age as Romeo Doubs almost. Like, isn't he old? Kyle Williams.
He's very young man.
24.
Yeah, well, okay, 20. He's 23.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
No.
He's Unk. Once you get 23, you're Unk. This is known fact.
I think that's probably it. One more thing, though, before Luke goes off. This might take us like 5 minutes because it's not that big of a deal. I'm on X, and I'm looking at, what's this guy's name from 98.5? Matt McCarthy. Is this his name?
Yeah, I think so.
Drake Silver. Do you know what I'm talking about? Matt McCarthy?
Sounds like he is a three Floyd.
He did a debate today with
Matt
Paul.
McCarthy.
He completely ran for me. I have it on good word. He ran for me. He did not want to do a debate with me. And
wow.
we ratioed him. Someone said, Matt McCarthy, that's fine. We ratioed him because, you know what? I really, of all the things that you don't talk bad about, one of them is like one of the best players in your franchise history. That's going to be Drake May, very obviously. And when people, it's okay to have these conversations about Will Campbell, but put it in its proper context. And this guy is just on X and on these radio shows saying that like Drake May is actually not that good. And he's being very smug about it. I can't tell if he's serious or if he's just trying to bait me. I can't tell. I'm at that age where I can no longer tell anymore. So I had to quote tweet him, and I'm like, okay, I think 4 players under 23 have an All-Pro. Dan Marino, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Drake May, okay? I think 2 of those players won MVP and 1 was runner-up, and that's Drake May, 1 vote away. So you have and then he had the season with, I think it was highest completion percentage, highest passer rating, highest QBR in the modern era. It's never happened before. So you have all of this evidence that he's like a really awesome player, and you're just shitting on him all the time just to like be fun. That's like not even fun. It's like we can't take you serious. Drake May is an elite player. Last year we were in a chat, and I remember specifically people were getting mad about this, and I was like, the best quarterbacks this year will be something like Drake May, Matt Stafford, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, and Baker Mayfield. And essentially, those were like the 5 MVP guys of the year. So we were correct about that. So Drake May, he's like saying Drake May is not as good as Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams, which is not – this is not just the homer in me. I'm telling you, that's an insane take. He said Jaden Daniels' 24 was better than Drake May's 25, okay? Insanity, okay? Which ties greatly into what Luke is going to tell you about, too, by the way.
Let's go off, Luke.
No, I mean, just staying on that point for a moment. I think anybody who has a take like that is just clearly upset about something. I don't know like what's going on in their head. I feel like we're pretty good at determining when somebody kind of sucks versus when they're actually good. And I'm not saying Jaden Daniels sucks, but I kind of don't buy what I'm seeing on him, and he gets injured a lot. So, and anybody who's arguing that his rookie season is better than Drake May's second season, they're just lying. I don't know what else to say about that. And I do have some stuff to get into, but I don't know if you guys have any more thoughts on that discussion first.
Well, I mean, I think it kind of speaks for itself. I mean, you could look at it as a casual's perspective and look at the ratio from TD to INT to yardage, or you can break it down and get into analytics. Like Drake's metrics were shattering Tom Brady's records at this time. And schedule weakness or schedule strength aside, like he was still playing a good run of formidable defenses for weeks. And of course, defenses weren't good until Drake May and the Patriots offense absolutely handled them. But, after that happened, after the fact, those defenses suck now because they drop in tiers. This is what happens. It's the same discourse that happened when Tom Brady was shattering these same teams, these same coaches with these similar offenses. Like, it's the same thing that's happening. Patriots fans, at the same time, you have an all-pro quarterback. Why are you so gun-shy and gung-ho on being avid and ramping up this guy? Like, this guy, he's not perfection. He's not a finished product. His postseason was shaky, but I think we have very valid reasons as to why that didn't necessarily pertain to Drake May and his performance. Not to excuse it, but we're seeing those issues addressed in the offseason, and now we're going to actually see it, for real. Not that we need it, as this guy was an MVP, should have been the MVP, was dogged out of it by Matt Stafford's Lifetime Achievement Award and all his friends and company that were actively voting. And Tom Brady. Tom Brady's the biggest one. I mean, May over Brady all day. You already know.
Well, speaking of Brady, and I'm going to be doing, I apologize to you, Bryson. I'm probably going to be doing some Brady defending right now because I kind of have to. And I'm just going to talk about his play on the field because obviously what he's been doing off the field has been quite disgusting, actually. But
disgusting.
Speaking of disgusting, ladies and gentlemen, I know there's a lot of ladies in here. As I sit here, I am disgusted by a person. And that person is Scott Kacsmar, or what the internet likes to call him, Scott Cucksmere, Cucksmar. I like to call him Scott Papsmear. He has come up again somehow to attack Drake May. This guy cannot die. Just when I think he's gone, he comes back. Somehow I'm still not blocked by him, although a lot of our friends are blocked by Scott Kacsmar. For anyone unfamiliar with Scott, he's, I believe, a Pittsburgh-based NFL writer, data analyst. He has some actually legitimate credentials. From what I remember, and this is before I realized how disgusting of a human he is, he helped standardize some of the fourth quarter comeback stats and game-winning drive statistics that have been used by Pro Football Reference, 538, Football Outsiders, things like that. But Patriots fans, they know him for something else entirely. A seemingly lifelong campaign to prove that Tom Brady was not really Tom Brady. Patriots fans have also been absolutely dunking on him for a decade plus. This is not a rivalry. It's not a one-sided rivalry, I should say. Kacsmar himself has acknowledged that he's been fighting with Patriots fans for 20 years now. And he's had a long-standing feud with us over the franchise's entire history, dynasty history, I should say. He's spent years producing increasingly elaborate statistical arguments attributing Brady's success to defense, coaching, favorable circumstances, extraordinary luck, including a 2-part write-up about how Brady is the luckiest of all time.
I like that. Why are you making me like him? Why does he have so much aura?
And I was worried about that because of what Brady's been like, but this all comes back to Drake May. And now that Brady is gone, Scott has apparently decided the family business must continue. So he has transferred the entire inherited grievance directly onto Drake May. Ladies and gentlemen, never ask a man his salary, a woman her weight, or Scott Kacsmar why he was fired from his job. You guys can do the Googling. It's not my place. Here comes the 2025 season. Scott decides he needs to attack Drake May because of how much he hates the Patriots and their fans. And those are his words, by the way. The second half of that is that he specifically hates Patriots fans. I infamously stuffed him into a locker in January. Early on in the season, Drake May was not an MVP threat yet. Understandable. So Scott was actually on X attacking Matt, don't ask where my wife is, Stafford, for his 1-yard TD stat pads. That's kind of based, actually. That's right. We were attacking Matt Stafford for those 1-yard stat pads. Well, Once May joined the MVP conversation, Scott goes on the Everything app and began opining that Matt Stafford's 1-yard TDs were actually an indication of value. I called him on this. I retweeted this this morning, so go check that. It's legitimately side by side 2 tweets. One where he is attacking Matt Stafford for these touchdowns, and then a couple months later, him defending those 1-yard touchdowns as an indication of value. And yesterday, Scott comes back again. I thought he was gone, honestly. I haven't seen him pop up in a while. I mean, he does get absolutely no views on his tweets, even though he has like 20,000 followers. He gets like 6 views on his tweets, or likes on his tweets. He comes online and he admits that he doesn't hate May. He hates the worst fan base in sports who will bend over backwards, and I'm quoting, to praise their QBs for winning even when they're clearly getting carried or not the cause of it. I had to remind him of that locker stuffing. Here's the thing. Let me explain something to everybody. To everybody watching at home. This man has decided that he's going to wake up every morning of his life and disrespect the New England Patriots. And I have a problem with that. I have a major problem with that. Let me tell you what this man does. He doesn't watch these football games anymore. He watches the box score. He gets really sad, and then he opens up his spreadsheet in the dark and invents a number that never existed in the history of organized sports to take down Drake May. Scott, now I'm talking to you directly. I'm just going to say this with love, compassion, as a professional, actually. Stop with the spreadsheets, because here's what's really preposterous to me. You've got a young, beautiful man, Drake May. He's only 23 years old. He's got a cannon for an arm. He's got poise in the pocket. He's the future of this storied franchise, who I understand you hate. And this man, Scott, is at home running regression analysis on this beautiful child's soul. And I can't stand for that. Scott, you've never completed a forward pass in your life, and you're grading Drake May's footwork. Scott thinks he's Bill James. He's not. He's a random guy on the internet with 3 pictures. He's a man with a group chat and a grudge. So here's what I need from you, Scott, and I say this as a friend. We can be friends if you'd like. Log off, close the laptop, go outside, and watch Drake May this season. And watch with your eyes and not your calculator. There's no spreadsheet. There's no algorithm. There's no metric. There is nothing on this earth that's going to save you when Drake May, hangs banner number 7 in Foxborough. The numbers don't lie, Scott, but you do, professionally. He's probably just going to respond to this by blocking me, by the way, but I think it's really important for this message to get out. He hasn't really been called out like this since the Brady years. He got a little bit of it during the MVP debate, and he kind of squirmed back into his closet. But I want him to know that we're seeing what he's saying. We're seeing what he's putting out there, and we know what his problem is. It's just that he hates the Patriots, and that's just how it is. He's biased. He'll make up a stat to discount Drake May's success for no reason other than he hates Patriots fans. So all Patriots fans need to keep this guy on their radar, never take anything he says serious. And that's that. You guys have any thoughts on Scott Cucksmear?
Yeah, Scott Cucksmear needs to go outside and get a real job at that, and try not to lose this one. Luke 1, Cucksmear none.
Thank you.
Damn, that was a little harsh. I thought, the way you were describing him, I'm like, dude, do I like this guy? He's kind of awesome. I think this guy is awesome. But then, we just over the years have learned to ignore him, even though he blocks all of us, because he's clearly seething. And so the seething and the anger, it's like he like pumps out it's not like he's going viral. It's not like he has a fan base. He just edges on anti-Patriots fans, people who don't even like him, by the way, because he's just not an entertaining person. And so he really doesn't have an audience, and a lot of times his audience is just us. So I really just try to actually ignore him, because he's kind of like, he's honestly not worth the time, and he's seething all the time. Like Luke was saying, I remember during the season, he created this stat, and it was like, I think it was like the Patriots. He like has an arbitrary cutoff, and it's like the Patriots are winning games when Drake May only scores like above so many points in the whatever. It's like some stupid stat that makes no sense at all. And then Drake has arguably one of the best seasons for a quarterback in the modern NFL. And he's like, well, actually, I just hate Drake because I hate all of this. That's how much we've got into this guy's head over the years. That's just how much we've totally obliterated Scott. As he's just so mad he cannot even handle it, and he can't like many of the people that argue with us, they end up just like completely seething for the rest of their lives, and no one hears them at all. And meanwhile, people are focused on the things that we're doing and stuff. So yeah, I'm appreciate that
people shouldn't have jobs in the NFL, and he's one of those people, in my opinion.
Yeah. You also described him as an online internet person with 3 pictures, and you could have replaced Scott Kutchmere with Drake Silver. I thought that was doing me either a service or a disservice. I wasn't sure.
No, 100%. Is there? I'm trying to think if there's anything else we need to talk about here. There's football. I know Luke probably has to go. Me and Silver could talk here forever. So I mean, we're in a chill stream right now. We can always cut the podcast off and do whatever. We've had some people interacting and stuff like that. There was something else I wanted to talk about, and I kind of did forget about it. One of our friends, Theo, wrote an article. I was on Theo's podcast once, and I talk to Theo every once in a while. And you know what? I am the type of friend that I just like tell you, I'm just like, this is not good. And sometimes people don't like that. I couldn't tell if he got mad or what, but he wrote this article today. And I think I sent the picture, and it was something like he said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that Lomo is taking these backup snaps. That's not any indicator of where he will be during the year. And they just really want him to take his right tackle snaps or, whatever it is. And none of this actually does matter and has nothing to do with anything. And I just think stuff like that is just like complete cope once again.
Yeah. Not to cut you off, man, but it's true. Like what he's saying has an adverse reaction, because if it doesn't matter, then what lies the problem with giving him his first team reps? If nothing they're doing now is going to have any indication on what they're going to be in the season or what his role will be, then what's it matter? Throw him in there, give him his first team reps. What is the issue with that? So you can't really go on one side or the other and paint this picture that, hey, Will Campbell or Caleb Lomu can't do this, but he can do this. Well, it doesn't matter because he can only do this. Like we've got to clear it up. And this just speaks to the discourse around the entire topic. So I don't know what Luke's thoughts are on that, but that's mine.
Can I read this to you guys? It says, with that being said, I don't believe if Campbell were to miss time in the regular season, Bryant would be the next man up. Caleb Lomu, the team's first round pick, would likely, and these people love the commas, by the way, for no reason, would likely fill in at left tackle. Lomu not fulfilling his full role as a team's projected swing tackle today is likely due to the team not wanting to mess with his development. Okay, Theo, he's playing guard. Theo, he is taking left tackle snaps. Theo, Mike Reese said today, if Will Campbell's unable to play, the 2025 7th-round pick, Marcus Bryant, would get the first call to fill the void. And Mike Reese is not just saying this stuff. And you're lying. You're lying. You are lying. You just lied 3 times in there because you're coping. Either you didn't do the research or you are lying, okay? And I don't like that. I don't like that, Theo. You're better than that, okay? We've talked before. And by the way, me and Theo did have a Will Campbell debate. He's like one of those Will Campbell supporters and stuff like that. And I kind of like did have to mog a little bit, but in the end, we were right. We were honestly right about Will Campbell's rookie year. So this stuff doesn't bother me, and I'll continue to say stuff like this because I think a lot of the times when people disagree and we're like, what is actually going on? There's some things that they aren't seeing and we're actually seeing, which is why I'm so excited for us to be and go to camp and watch these practices and see everyone, because there is a lot of stuff to look at that I feel like people are missing and not telling us about, because a lot of the stuff they actually just are scared to say it. Like no one wants to say it. No one wants to admit, like I said, Keon White, Will Campbell won a rep against him today instead of just actually saying what needs to be said. Like, this doesn't look good.
Yep. Yeah, no, we talked about this week too. Like people they're scared to say what their eyes are seeing because of the sort of imaginary put in place narrative that the beat guys know and the media knows that the Patriots want them to subliminally push, right? It's a bit of a stage of mass psychosis in a way. Like they don't want him to push that Eli Raridon might look pretty good. He might be breathing down Hunter Henry's neck. Like I pushed back on this earlier about this grand conspiracy in the media, but we've seen it year in and year out. So it shouldn't come as a surprise, if there's a certain narrative that gets established early and is otherwise, hung up on for a while, and especially throughout training camp, because at the end of the day, most people going don't necessarily know what they're watching. And, it's fairly easy to see who can play, who can't play. Give Bryson a guy's best 5 plays. He'll let you know if he stinks or if he's okay. That's that's just what it comes down to. It's not that hard. It's a special talent.
Why do Patriots fans care so much if Will Campbell's actually okay, let me rephrase that. We all want him to be good because it's really good for the team. But why do Patriots fans seem to just not want to admit what their eyes are seeing on this? I don't understand. What is it about this one single player? We were pretty good at saying N'Keal Harry sucked pretty quickly. I would say. I mean, some people took longer than others, but why? Yeah. What is it about Will Campbell that it's we need to protect this guy? Why are I understand the coaches, I understand the front office, maybe even the media, but why do the fans care so much that they need to prove that he's right to everybody, prove that he's good to everybody? What has he done for us?
Because, I think it's more of just you're talking about the fan perspective, right? I think fans tend to, and we've talked about this with some of the Patriots' best free agent signings, you oftentimes attach yourself emotionally to a player because of the season that happened around it. So because 2025 is such a special season, the fans aren't going to want to go out being screw this guy. This guy sucks. No, they remember the season as being good. So there is this weird emotional attachment to where they can't really deject themselves from the player because of what experience they had that attaches to it. And emotions, they rain, man. They go hard. So that's why I understand why fans aren't able to do it. But that's why we're here. That's why Title Talk and the crew is here, to remind you that objectivity as a fan is achievable. You don't need to be a fanatic who puts the blinders on and has blind loyalty, which is okay. I think
you only do that with Drake May. You only do that with Drake. Only.
So you beat me to it. That's who deserves it. Okay, we don't need to shill for this left tackle or right tackle or this 6th wide receiver. Okay, that's not what we're here for. This is TT. Go ahead, Luke.
No, I was just gonna say I think Efton probably has earned it as well, but
yeah,
of course.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, the other thing is funny. It's what happened to Lane Larison? What happened to these guys? What happened to Kyle Williams? All these Jam Millers, all these people get obsessed about the outside guys that don't matter at all. What happened to those guys? Nothing. I remember being on a podcast. I'm on a podcast. We're talking about, the Super Bowl and stuff like that. And I'm like, look, guys, where I was on a panel, I'm like, look, if the Patriots lose this Super Bowl, I guarantee you the first story is going to be about how bad Will Campbell was. And I remember, if you're watching, you know who you are, laughed. Bunch of people that do a podcast were laughing at me. They do this all the time. They act like I'm crazy. And I'm like, no, if it's going to happen, he's going to stink and they're going to lose. That's going to be, no, it won't happen. That won't be the reason. Well, it actually was. That was the main reason why, because Will Campbell was absolutely awful. But you were too busy talking about cover 6 and shit like that instead of just actually being concerned about the straight up the players actually stinking, which is, stuff that matters. But, whatever. Hey, let's talk about Lane Larison more. Does anyone love Lane Larison? I love Lane Larison.
Love the fourth.
Awesome. He's awesome. He's going to make the team. He's absolute stud. I actually went back and watched some Lane Larison highlights today, and it was just it was nothing. It was just I didn't understand why people like them, other than it has to be, most of it is just they read words and they think they read words of someone else saying something, and that gets people excited about stuff. Because I watched the highlights and I was like, and these are highlights. And I'm like, dude, this guy's nothing. What are we talking about here? Like, you could literally put Kyle Williams at running back and he would be better than this guy. What is this? What is Land Larison doing in my feed? But maybe some people like that. Again, it's just not me. It's not the podcast for that.
You guys seeing what else is in the feed per Greg Bedard?
Oh, is Greg Bedard in the feed?
Yeah, well, per Greg Bedard, Will Campbell's actually being sent to Iran.
Oh,
And that's why he wasn't present today.
good fit, actually. He's known to terrorize a quarterback or two.
Okay, let's. We wish you the best, Will. Well, I really do wish you the best out there. But my goodness,
I like the Land Larison guys. I don't care, man. When I think back to my like childhood, like I'm thinking about Kevin Falk, and I know I still think about Campbell Tompkins, man. I know it's absurd, but I think I answered my own question a little bit about why certain fans kind of get obsessed with the guy and they want to talk about that guy.
Yeah.
And I think it's just like everyone likes an underdog story a little bit. So, and I'm not opposed to that, but I will say, it's not life and death when a guy like Efton Chisholm gets left off the roster. The world's not going to end. The team isn't going to be any worse off for it. But I'm still going to root for him. I still want him to succeed. Like I like to see that. So I get it. I get why people want to talk about that stuff. It's fun.
They want to talk about it because they're like, well, if all hell breaks loose and the worst thing ever happens to all top 3 receivers, this is who we want. And it's like, if you're 3 wide out, you're probably not it's looking grim regardless. So, but that's what it is. It's the fan in them. It's an emotional attachment, and it's hard to break it.
Well, Luke, if you have to go, that's fine. I did want to talk about Gabe Akis, though.
I think I got like 10 minutes. So I'll hop off.
I have exactly 10 minutes.
Okay, good. Perfect. This will work out perfectly. So a lot of stuff about Gabe Akis, but what you like to hear is that he's taking first team reps. And, like we said, that's the important part. It's not necessarily that he's like winning these reps, but people are saying he looks good. Don't really care much about that, but he is taking the first team reps. My question with the Gabe Akis stuff is, remember all this stuff we heard about Gabe Akis' knee? Some people were saying like maybe he doesn't play all year. Some people were saying like he's not going to be medically cleared to play. And this guy immediately shows up and he's been awesome, which I love to see. So I'm starting to think, what was up with that report? Because I'm starting to think that my report was the correct one, which is that he had a simple knee scope. It was not that big of a deal, and everyone knew it, and that's why he did it, because Gabe Akis is a good guy. Gabe Akis would not just get a surgery and not tell anyone, and it's a big deal. And people that didn't know are way overrated, right? And so he just had this, I'm pretty sure he just had this little knee scope. I'll talk to him later. But he had this little knee scope, and people made it a big deal. They said he wasn't going to play because of this knee stuff. And now he's like out there just terrorizing people already and looking awesome. And he's been in shape this whole time, so he's actually doing stuff. So that's the one thing I think people have to look sideways at a lot of people for sharing this story all year, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. You almost wonder, like, did someone on the Patriots front office budge, or did Gabe Akis budge? Because this was definitely, like we covered, Bryson, in past shows and in your reporting, when we're talking about injury settlements or guarantees or whatever it be, this was clearly contractual language dispute over the guarantee for injury. And from what reporting has been from a lot of the guys, which it doesn't seem like is really vindicated or has conviction in any of these reports, is that the Patriots eventually caved in. They gave Gabe Akis what he wanted. I think time actually helped on Gabe's part. They went to camp and saw how truly, utterly bad guys like Braden Swinson and really Elijah Ponder were at being able to get a first step and contribute as a pass rusher and get any sort of, presence of pressure. So I do think that played into Gabe's hand a little bit. And by all means, and by all reporting, guys like Lazar and Bedard, they've been pretty high on what Akis has been able to do since he's been on the field, and that's awesome. And Gabe Osama is ready to be unleashed, and his 3 biggest stands, minus LB, are ready to unleash some absolute honor chants in his name.
Do you think that the Patriots were the ones who blinked. From the reports I saw and that you were reporting as well, Jake, there's some pretty extensive language in there protecting against that knee injury. Is there not?
There was some in there. I know they ended up figuring some things out. I don't know the exact language, and we don't have the clause that they ended up going with. So they may have not, but it sounds like from the most part, it was the Patriots bickering with the agent with Akis over this. So I do think in some regard they did, but we don't know the exact dollar amount and settlement that they ended up reaching. So I do think that they did. I think they saw a quick snapshot at their roster on the edge and said, "Yeah, what are we doing? Why are we messing around with this guy? Get him into camp."
Yeah, it was probably a compromise of sorts anyway. It doesn't really matter, I guess. But I think the underlying story here was he was kind of just totally fine the entire time, right?
Yeah.
I think that was it, and he's actually so fine that I went out there. I was like, you know what? His knee looks good. His knee looks healthy. This is an in-shape guy. This is a wrestler. So, I post a bit of a highlight on X, and I'm like, look, Gabe Akis, your knee's so healthy. I'm calling you out right now. As friends, whoa, don't hurt me when I see you in person, okay? Let's be friends, all right? So I'm like, Gabe, I'm calling you out. Let's have a wrestling match. I'll do it on the grass. Take your cleats off, and you can throw me around, and then I'll try to heel hook you. But I'll be nice, and if Lord willing, I catch a heel hook, I'm gonna be safe with it. I'm not gonna do anything crazy. Lord willing, right? But I challenge Gabe Akis. I'll bring the mats. This will be great content. I actually texted my dad today, and because my dad asked me about this, and he's like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna wrestle Gabe Akis." And my dad's like, "Are you serious? You can't do that." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can't do that. It'll be funny." And he doesn't know what's going on, but it's just pretty funny. And Gabe Akis he's liking my messages in the DM, so yeah. I know there's a chance he's probably going to do it. Okay, Gabe, listen, here's what we can do, Gabe, because I know you're a good Christian guy. I'll go to church with you. We'll go to church, and then we'll do a wrestling thing in the grass, just you and me. We'll record it. It'll be in the grass, and you can launch me across the room. But listen, I'm your number one fan, so tread lightly, okay? Listen, I saw your statement the other day. You guys saw the statement he made? He said something like, something to the effect of like talking to the fans and how he wanted to, ingratiate himself back with the fans. And I really felt bad for him because we talked about it. It's not really his fault, and everyone's got this twisted. So Gabe, I invested at the bottom. I'm your number one fan. I've got the I Heart Gabe Akis shirt. You're gonna see me with it at camp. Okay, let's do a friendly. We'll just roll around for a little bit. I promise, nothing serious. Let's just hug a little bit on the ground.
Wow. What's going to happen when you are the cause of his contract being waived by the Patriots after you injure him?
That couldn't happen. Gabe, I'll give you several references. Okay, I'll give you references to my coaches, who probably hate me even talking about this. But I'll give you references. I'm a good training partner. I will take care of you. Okay, you can trust me. I'm a trustworthy guy.
Gabe's knee is going to get tweaked. The exact.
I would never do something like that, Gabe. You can trust me. Okay, I know a lot of guys when you say, "Hey, let's just roll light." Like this happened to me the other day. It's rare that someone says this. I'm the guy that if you say, "Hey, let's roll light," I'm like, "Cool. What do you want to do?" And we actually roll light. Sometimes that happens and people still will try to murder you, which is insane to me. But I'm legitimately let's roll light. Let's just let's chill out. Gabe, Gabe, show me how to do a snap down better. You saw my video. I know you saw it. I sent it to you. I've been messaging you okay, I've got to confess something, all right? I've been messaging Gabe Akis every hour for every day since our last podcast. And sometimes it's just, hey. Sometimes it's just, hey. Sometimes it's, how are you? Sometimes it's, what up? And he doesn't respond to them very much, but he's liked a few of them. So,
That doesn't surprise me. I think I don't know what you're planning on doing, but if you decide to, at any point, pull guard on Gabe Akis, I have multiple broken ribs.
I will pull guard. You think I'm going to let Gabe Akis launch me across the room?
I do. We're going to call you assistant coach Mike Smith, the way that he's going to absolutely obliterate you. Yes.
It's a win for everyone.
Think about the get on the podcast.
Heel hooker. This guy's terrible.
Patriots fan gets obliterated by Gabe Backus, and it's me flying through the air like Mike Smith.
Dude, that would
actually be
would.
awesome. You know what I've actually thought about is us getting one of those mobile mats and just throwing it outside the camp, and I'll just be there in my rash guard or in my gi
You'll
or
take on
something.
whoever, all comers.
I'll just make
Yeah.
a sign, and it'll say, "If you can submit me." I don't know what it'll say, but and then people will try to beat me up. It'll be funny.
I like that a lot, actually. Yeah, you're gonna have to bring that mat. I don't think I can put that on the plane.
Cool, we'll do it. Whatever. Well, I think everyone's like, "Oh, that's it." So thank you guys very much. It's been nice. We've been able to go live, and we're really trying to be more consistent with the audience, and let you guys know that we're here and we're serious. Okay, other people, they've had years and months. We've taken a little bit of break, and we're coming back, and we've actually had good views, good interaction, stuff like that. So that's awesome. I need to write an article. I need to get back to it. I've not been inspired yet, and Michael Rubin has not told me I have to make one yet, so that's fine with me. But he is my second cousin after all. So, but anyway, thank you guys very much, and we'll see you guys later. And retweet, like, share, all this stuff. Good Patriots.
See ya.
Yep.